Good evening, guys. It's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after City's very disappointing and frustrating 2-0 defeat at the hands of Liverpool. How you doing, man? Are you guys good? Are you well? How are you feeling after that game? I'm quite relaxed today, if I'm being honest with you. I think time's been a bit of a healer. And I think I've had a bit of a mental shift anyway over the past month or two, where I am sort of judging the team now based off what I think they are now, not where we used to be, which is, I think the second you start doing that, things become a little bit easier to take. And I accept that this City side is very much one in transition and one that is going to struggle here and there with a lack of quality. Since I've accepted that, I feel a lot more relaxed about it. I think Liverpool were just a bit better than us. And I think, a few changes and it could be a very different story. But yeah, that's where I'm at today. So let me know how you're feeling. Hello to everyone in the chat, to AJ, to King Kaiser, to Lee, to Aziz, to Josh, to Ricky, to John. It's good to see you guys here. Massively appreciate it. Please give the video a like and subscribe if you are new. Do let me know the 5 things that you learned from the game if you want to. Of course, you just don't have to. Just sit back and watch if you want to. But yeah, I'm honestly quite relaxed. I expected it to be difficult against Liverpool. And it was, because ultimately they had the quality that we just didn't in Van Dijk and Salah, their big guns. We were missing our big guns, De Bruyne is not there anymore. Rodri, Haaland, Diaz, and the settled defense just isn't a thing currently. So I think ultimately we did probably the best we could. Doesn't mean it was perfect, but I think this is just the level we're at right now. The first thing I want to talk about anyway is this man, Abdukodir Khusanov. Look, I've been nervous about where City were heading simply because I didn't know how good some of these players were going to be. Sort of had to trust that, these names that aren't superstar signings, Mamouche probably the mild exception there, but these names like Khusanov, Vitor Reis, Nico Gonzalez, we have to sort of trust that they are going to be good enough for City's future level. And can they reach those, those standards? And this man here on screen, I am so aggressively impressed with how good this guy is. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really expect him to be excellent. I thought he was going to be just a good player, it would take an awful lot of time to get there and eventually show signs of quality. I didn't know, basically, he's already probably our best centre-back. Like, right now, in terms of form and fitness and ability, he's exactly what we need. It's genuinely mad how much I rate this guy. He's just excellent. Absolutely excellent. Liverpool are fantastic, going forward in terms of they've got their... They've got the ability to get in behind you so often. But the amount of times Khusanov read, Liverpool's attacks to get blocks in. There's one particular one later on where he took it on himself to zoom across the pitch and stop Liverpool for a late challenge. Wonderful defensive stuff. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant from Khusanov. Genuinely fantastic stuff. And then, it's as AJ said as well, yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. He's such a unique player to watch. I watched a compilation of him after the game, all his actions involved. And there's something about the way he moves on the ball as well. He's very unique and enjoyable to watch as a defender. He's a real physical defender. And that pace when he gets going, he's lightning quick. He reads the game really well. His passing is excellent. He's so composed. I was under the impression this guy was going to be a bit raw on the ball, but and a bit of a loose cannon. But so far, man, he's been so good. 99% pass accuracy. He completed 87 out of 88 passes yesterday, which is ridiculous. And they're not all just sideways passes. Sometimes they'll flicks over defenders' heads and lovely little dinked passes. He's really, really, really good. I'm amazed just how good this guy is. And I got a feeling those. We're going to see when he adapts to this league fully and he starts to learn English, he's going to be a regular starter. This guy is a guy who was born to defend, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it. He's got a bit of the tenacity of Zabaleta with a bit of the pace of Kyle Walker and a bit of the physical approach of Ruben Diaz and a little bit Vidic-esque, in the way he plays. He's ridiculous. I am really impressed with him. Very tough as well, as Frank said. Yeah, mentally tough as hell. Absolutely, man. I am really encouraged by if this is a sign of the signings, a glimpse of the future, what we're going to do, then we're going to be all right if we can sign players like this. Because he's better than I thought. He's better than I thought already. You know, I'm very, very encouraged by him. I think this guy is going to be a superstar. Like, he's tough, he's physical, he's alert, he's mentally strong, he's really, really quick. Yeah, I mean, he's a superstar in the making. And the best thing for me is he's sort of just hit me out of nowhere. Like, most of us did not expect this guy to come in and be this good, especially after the start against Chelsea, which was a disaster. But since then, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. Like, this guy is born to defend, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And there's a couple of times we got forward and started trying to help create chances as well. We've got a very, very unique defender here. Very unique defender. There's not many like him in the way that he plays. Yeah. I like him a lot, and I cannot wait to see how he develops. It should be fun. I also want to say, by the way, I will be live going through the highlights on bigup.com. Yeah, I can literally go through the goals. I'll be live 15-20 minutes from now and go through the actual goals and show you the clips and the highlights and talk about how Liverpool beat us and what we did right and what we did wrong. So yeah, if you want to join me for that, it'd be massively appreciated.
And guys, in this
live afterwards, it will be it'll be live afterwards. So yeah, you join me for that if you want to. I think Ricky's name pops out because Ricky's a YouTuber too. I clicked Ricky's channel then. You do guitar stuff, don't you? Ricky's got a big channel about guitar videos. Good on you, Ricky, mate. Another YouTuber in the chat there. It's good to see. You're verified as well. You got your tick. I wouldn't mind that. You know, I haven't got 100,000 subscribers yet. One day. Second thing I want to talk about though, actually, is a bit of a downer. Like, sadly, I want to talk about Kevin De Bruyne. Like, is time catching up with KDB is a big question that we're all sort of trying to deal with. The answer is obviously yes, but the second question after that, is how much? Tired. The answer is how much, I guess, you know? How much is time catching up with us? It's one of those things where De Bruyne he's our greatest ever player, in my humble opinion. I absolutely love him, you know, dearly. I think Kevin's absolutely phenomenal. But we got to be serious about, you know, what he's got left to offer. And I think yesterday was probably one of his worst games in a City shirt, unfortunately. You know, like, the weight of pass wasn't there, his physicality wasn't there, his creativity wasn't on show, and it was very disappointing. That's not to say that he doesn't have something left in the tank. I feel there is probably something there somewhere, but it's how often you can give that and how much he can play before he gets injured again, essentially. There were some rumours today going around in the press that, you know, ultimately Kev might fancy staying again and would happy to accept a bit part role. I'm not against that. If Kevin De Bruyne wants to stay for another season, you know, teach the young guns how to be a world-class number 10, start learning his player coaching stuff, I don't know, whatever. If Kev wants to do it, I would be more than welcome. I'm a firm believer that there's nothing wrong with having greats on the bench, you know, every now and then. But he'd have to accept that, you know, he's just not a starter. It depends if he wants that or not. Kev is phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. The best I've ever seen, in my humble opinion, in the Premier League. A truly unique footballer. And the thing for me is that, you know, ultimately, it's entirely down to his body. Like, you know, it's why it's sort of old people, I said it on the video last night, old people trip over the feet all the time because their head tells them to put the foot somewhere and the body just can't do it. He doesn't react as the same way. And obviously, Kev is not an old person. But in terms of footballer, his body's not reacting due to injuries and tiredness and so on as strongly and as precise as it used to. So he tries to get the weight on the pass and it just doesn't come off because his leg can't put the same inherent force into it. Yeah, I don't think he can strike a ball quite as well as it currently stands. I might be wrong there. And if Kev's somehow watching this, prove me wrong, mate. I love you dearly. But it feels right now, you know, we're looking at... you know, the sort of end game for Kev, unfortunately. And it's one of those things where I think we have to accept that time is catching up with him intensely and it's going to be a very difficult decision. Some reports suggested that the decision's already made and City want to move on from him, but I don't know if we would ever do that to KDB. We will see. Unfortunately, he's getting on a little bit. And the third thing I want to talk about is Doku. You know, he deserves a mention after yesterday. He was utterly relentless, is the words. I've spelled relentless wrong there. Maybe that was sort of... Me spelling relentless wrong is a metaphor for the final decision being wrong, I would guess. But no, he deserves some credit for it because that guy next to him In there, he had a stinker up against Doku. He turned him inside out about 15 times. I'm not even exaggerating. It was that impressive from Doku. The final ball has to get better. But what I do admire from a player is that they don't drop their heads. If Doku went at him time and time again, like he was sprint running up against those defenders, and I admire his consistency that way in terms of his bullishness and keep going. I mean, what I would say to him in his defence is that there was no one to aim for. So the narrative around Doku is like, what was the point of all those dribbles? The main one was bad, mate. It was bad alongside him. The amount of times you'd look up and it'd be a tiny Marmoush or Foden just randomly stood next to Virgil van Dijk. How are they ever going to get that? Like, we do not have the tools there, to get people in the box. And what is Doku and Savino going to do? And Savino is a creative player who creates chances, So I feel basically like as much as he could have been better, it's one of those things where he did play some nice passes, as someone said there. Foden miscontrolled a couple of balls that went to him. He did set up a couple of long range shots, so there was something there, some slight end product. He has to get better, I'm not going to deny it, but there is clearly an exceptionally talented player there. He's such a unique one-off footballer, Jeremy Doku. Like, I've never seen a dribbler better than him in a one-on-one, maybe. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Obviously Messi, but like, his dribbling is brilliant. He's almost worth keeping around just to see if we can improve, and I think we will do, because he's only young still, and if all he needs to do is form a partnership with someone, and if he can do that, then we've got a very special player there. The fourth thing I want to talk about is we need midfield creativity. I'm not hanging Foden out to dry there, but I've already used the picture of Kevin De Bruyne, so I'm using Phil there. Phil isn't in great form right now. He's had a very tough season, but the one thing that struck me is that the tools that we usually used to have to break teams down, they just weren't there or not working, We need midfield creativity. If it's not going to be Phil, if it's not going to be Kev anymore, we're going to have to bring someone in. Maybe Echeverri will be that guy. He's coming into this team. I afforded myself a little bit of internal fan fiction earlier. I daydreamed of the idea of Echeverri coming in, being brilliant, and Guardiola sees this Argentinian wonder kid number 10 and gets so excited that it takes him back to when he was managing Messi, and he falls in love with football over again. He reinvigorates him and he builds another wonder team. I had that fan fiction in my head. It's probably nonsense. Echeverri's got a long way to go from starring at the Under-20 Copa America to being one of the best in the Premier League, the most physical, intense league in world football. I'm sure he's going to be very talented, but anyone who thinks he's going to come in and just break things around and change it is probably been a bit naive there. Foden is having a poor season. The thing that bugs me is that Foden used to be a creative player, but right now he isn't a creative player. Phil used to turn on the half turn and run at people and create chances. He doesn't do that anymore, and it's not down to parked buses. He did that years ago when everyone was parking against us. He used to do it regardless and find space against teams like Atletico Madrid and find a little pass. He's just not doing it now for whatever reason. So Phil has lost a bit of his spark. KDB, sadly, he looks like he's on his way out. Rodri's not there, that means we haven't. Gundogan is not the box-crashing genius that he used to be. We've not got no tall players on the pitch to win headers. So ultimately, we're lacking creativity in many usual channels. So I think we need some midfield creativity. I think Rodri returning will help with that, with his diagonal passes. But I think we need a number 10. I think the links to Florian Wirtz make an awful lot of sense. We have to go big on a creative midfielder. Hopefully, Echeverri, Messi, could be really good. But I think we need midfield creativity, and I think we have to be realistic about, potential signings in the summer. Finally, I actually feel there's reasons to be optimistic. Now, this is my positive spin. I was on the 9320 podcast today, and I said how I actually quite relaxed about where City are. So what would make City's current plight easier for you to accept is if you just realise that due to the circumstances, what we've ended up of our own making, for what it's worth, I'm not saying it's not our fault, but due to the circumstances, we are no longer a great side. We are just not. We're not capable with the current collection of players, especially given the injuries, of being a great side. We're not, because we haven't got our killers, man. We haven't got our killers. So I don't think we're capable of being a great side. So the way I judge us right now, I watch us through the prism of us being a top 4 side, and I think we still look like a top 4 side. Like Liverpool and Arsenal are better than us, but we're still, despite everything, it feels like we're 12th, but we're 4th, and we're probably going to get Champions League football, and our form is the 3rd best in the league currently. So we're probably going to finish in 3rd as well, ahead of Forest or something like that. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's not truly a disaster right now. And I look at that game yesterday, and I don't know if you agree, but I've calmed a lot today and my head's in a pretty rational place. The major difference between those two sides is they had their big guys, we didn't have our big guys. A year ago, Haaland's playing that, De Bruyne's playing that, De Bruyne in good form, Rodri's playing that, Foden's in good form, Diaz is fit and firing, and we win that game. I think we win that game a year ago. Absolutely. We win that today with those players playing well. And that's where we're at right now. Our killers, our big guys, either aren't there or out of form. And that is the thing for me, which makes it so, it's so frustrating. Like, you add Rodri and Haaland back into that team, and it's probably a draw in the end. And does anyone surprised because he's that level of brilliance? Get Foden to find form. Almost certainly at that point, get a creative midfielder in, and then almost certainly better. Get a defence that is actually fit and firing. And I don't think we're far away from having a high-quality starting 11. The issue is, of course, we need depth, and that's where the squad will build. But I don't see, a new goalkeeper, of course, but you say Ederson stayed, well, he's good enough. Diaz is fit and firing. Get a new right back in. Joska Vardiel, Khusanov, or Ake, whatever. Cambiasso comes in. So there we go. Nico, Rodri, Verts, or Foden finds form. Then you got Haaland, Savinho, whoever, Marmoush, Bob. I don't think we're as far away as you think for having a really, really, really good side. And then obviously, of course, the problem right now is we've got a pretty good side, but we've got the option is now we get to 60 minutes, we look at the bench, and it's the old man's club there, and that's the thing. We're just relying on old people to come on. Doku as well. It wasn't intentional, mate. I just say a lot of words, and sometimes you forget some. Yeah, but we've got the young talent there that I presume will get better. What I saw yesterday is that Liverpool had the superstars in Van Dijk, Alisson, Konate is currently playing at that level, Salah. But then they had lots of good players who aren't necessarily world class, but lots of good ones like Szoboszlai, people like Diaz and whatever, and Gakpo and the rest, and McAllister. Our other players are as good as those. We just haven't got our key players yet. So that's how I feel about it, So I'm not worried about it. I think we actually will be okay. And I honestly feel, we're going to be fine. Super chat from Josh. Thank you so much, mate. He says, I feel like Pep will have to seriously change the way we play in the next 2 years to stay in line with Viana's squad building. Unsure but hopeful. Big love, Steve. Maybe and maybe not, mate. I think the signs yesterday of playing with those players in the way that in our current system sort of works. Khusanov can pass it. Marmoush will be fine, when he's making runs off with, off Haaland, as he's already proven. Nico suits the system, I think. I think we'll be fine. Cambiasso will probably come in and he's a ball-playing player. It'll be physical. We'll change a little bit, but I don't think seriously change. Maybe I'm wrong, though, mate, and I appreciate your opinion, so we'll see on that. But I don't feel like an aggressive change is needed. We'll see. I don't know. What I do know is that Guardiola won't ever aggressively change how he plays. So if you want to see Guardiola at his very best, you got to bring in players that Guardiola is going to use, and that's the kind of player that I want to see at Manchester City. I want to see technical players who are versatile, multi-positional, and have that youthful energy and hunger with pace and physicality. But mainly, I want them to be really technical, while also having legs, of course, but really technical, because they have to be, man. That's the level we want to be at these days. Get technical geniuses, because that's what makes Guardiola sides tick. So that's where I'm at. So they're the 5 things that I took from this game anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. Not the longest video, because I'm about to go live over here and go through the goals and do a tactical analysis of the game. If you want to join me for that, you want to join me live on bigup.com/Esteemed Kompany. Check the pinned comment or check the link in the description. I can play the clips and highlights from the game and annotate on them, like Monday Night Football style. I'll be doing my Monday Night Football live in a minute or two, so come and join me if you want to see the analysis for what went wrong and what worked and what didn't yesterday. Thanks for watching this, guys. Please click the link. I'll put it in the chat for you now. Come and join me. And watch this live, and it's good fun. It's free to sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. Sign up. And also, by the way, there's a chance that you could win 500 quid if you just watch this video. If you join right now, I'll show you what. Here we go. We've got a competition where you could win £500. Where is it? £500. All you got to do is, it's the end of today. Create an account for free. Join my community, which is just follow. And watch at least 5 minutes. If you watch 5 minutes of this stream I'm about to do, you could win 500 quid. That's it. It's randomly chosen. So there we go, guys. Go and join me over there. I'll see you live in a minute over there. Thanks for watching. I'll start the stream over there in a bit. Bye-bye. See you live on bigup.com.